For today's lesson 19, we are going to be working on decomposing twice to subtract measurements, including 3-digit minuends with zeros in the tens or ones place. So really all that means is that we are going to be subtracting and we're going to have to regroup twice sometimes. And then sometimes we'll have to regroup twice because there's a zero and you can't borrow from zero. So what I would like for you to do for these problems is just go ahead and give them a try. And what I would like for you to do, instead of having to do all of them, you can choose from this column or this column. So you can either do the set of problems that is outlined in pink or the set of problems that is outlined in blue. You don't have to do both sides. So that's 4 problems that you have to do. Either one is fine. If you would like to do all of them, you can show them to me and I'll give you an extra effort for doing them. So the only thing that I would like to remind you is that whenever you have to borrow twice, don't forget that you may have to borrow across a zero. And to do that, you'd have to go all the way to the hundreds place. So, for example, if you were doing 609, actually, let's say 604 minus 356. Okay, so I cannot do 4 minus 6. So I would have to borrow, but I can't borrow from 0. So I have to go all the way over to my hundreds place. So the 6 turns into a 5, and because I'm taking one bundle of tens, I now have 10 tens. So now all I've done here is give myself something to borrow from for my ones. So now I'm able to do my regrouping. So I can borrow a bundle of ones, which means I have 10 ones added to my 14 that I already have. And now I can do all of my subtraction. So I've set myself up with a new problem. So 14 minus 6 is 8, 9 minus 5 is 4, 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay, so you're going to have to use that strategy there in order to get some of these problems done with the borrowing across 0, or maybe you're going to have to borrow from your tens and then borrow from your hundreds, so things like that. So go ahead and just try those problems, see how you do by checking in and comparing your work with what I am going to show you in the video. So you don't have to follow along with me. Try them on your own first, check your answers, and then you can watch to see if you made a mistake. Good luck on your problems, either the pink ones or the blue ones. So if you are done now checking your work, I will go through and show you how to do any problem in case you missed it. So the first one, 340 minus 60, and my label is centimeters. 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 6, I can't do it, so I have to borrow from my 3, and that's a bundle of 10, so now I have 14. 14 minus 6 is 8. 2 minus 0 is 2. So I have 280 centimeters for my answer on that one. And I'll just go down since we're doing them in groups. 513 minus 148. And I'm going to go kind of fast because you should just be watching to check a mistake or to check your answers, not be doing these with me right now. 3 minus 8, I can't do it. So I have a 0 and 13. That's 5. Well, now I have 0 minus 4. I can't do that, so I have to borrow again. So that's where that borrowing twice comes into play. So 10 minus 4 is 6. 4 minus 1 is 3. This one I can already tell I'm going to have to borrow because it is 700 with all those zeros. So I'm going to have to go all the way over to my 7, borrow a bundle of tens, and now I'm going to have to borrow a bundle of tens from my bundle of tens. So now 10 minus 2 is 8, 4, 6. Alrighty, and then the last one here, 6 kilometers, 802 meters, 2 kilometers, 569 meters. And my handwriting was really sloppy on that 8, so I'd like to fix that. There we go. Okay, 2 minus 9, can't do it. Go to my neighbor, he's empty, so I got to go all the way over to the hundreds. In the hundreds, that was a bundle of 10, so that bundle of 10 now turns into 9, and I borrowed again to make my 12. 12 minus 9 is 3, 9 minus 6 is 3, and 7 minus 5 is 2, 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay, so those are your answers to your pink problems. Let's look at the blue ones. 340 centimeters minus 260 centimeters. 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 6 is impossible. So I need to borrow from my 3, which becomes a 2. 14. Now I can subtract. So my next one, 641 grams, 387 grams. So 1 minus 7, can I do it? Nope. So 3. My 1 becomes an 11. That's 4. Again, I have to borrow. I'm borrowing a bundle of 10. So 13 minus 8 is 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. 700 milliliters minus 452 milliliters. 0 minus 2, can't do. My neighbor is empty. So I'm borrowing that bundle of 10. Now I have to borrow from my neighbor now that he got some from his neighbor. And we're all set. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 6 minus 4 is 2. Last one. And just using that standard algorithm to rewrite my problem with like place values so I can combine them. 0 minus 9 I can't do, so I have to go to my neighbor, borrow a bundle of 1s, 10 ones to be exact. Gotta go to my neighbor again, and I'm all done. Alright, so there's your answers to all of the problems that you had to do for this first page. David is driving from Los Angeles to San Francisco. The total distance is 617 kilometers. He has 468 kilometers left to drive. How many kilometers has he driven so far? So that word left and how many are going to be keywords for us here when we're doing subtraction. That lets me know that I'm doing a subtraction problem whenever I see those words. So it's very important to remember with subtraction that we always put the bigger number on top. So 617 kilometers is km minus 468 kilometers. Okay, so what's my first step going to be here? I need to do 7 minus 8, right? Well, some of you may have said write my label, and that would be correct. So 7 minus 8, can I do it? No, I have a bigger number on bottom, so I better borrow. Gotta go to my neighbor, knock knock. I took everything he had, and now I have enough. So 17 minus 8 is 9. But now, unfortunately, my neighbor doesn't have what he needs, so he has to go to his neighbor. So I'm borrowing from my hundreds place, a bundle of 10s. So now I have 10 tens minus 6 tens is 4 tens. 5 hundredths minus 4 hundredths is 100. So he has 149 kilometers that he has driven so far. Okay, and you could circle that answer also. The piano weighs 289 kilometers more than the piano bench. How much does the piano bench weigh? Okay, so I hear that word more than and how much. So if my piano bench or my piano weighs more than the bench, then that means I'm going to have to add or subtract to find out how much the bench weighs. Well, let's think of it this way. If I were to add these two numbers together, then my answer is going to be bigger than this answer because I'm adding to it. So then my bench would weigh more than the piano, and I know that that's not right. So I'm going to subtract. Which number should I put on top? 289 or 297? 297 goes on top because it is the bigger number. And in subtraction, I always start with the bigger number. Okay, so I lined up my place values and I wrote my labels. Now it's time to subtract. I'm going to start with 7 minus 9. Can I do 7 minus 9? No, I can't. So what do I need to do? I need to go to my neighbor and borrow. So, neighbor, I'm borrowing one bundle of ones, 10 ones. So now I have 17 ones. 17 minus 9 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. You can write your zeros if you would like to, but you don't have to. So my answer is 8 kilograms. The bench weighs 8 kilograms. All right, we have one less problem to do. Tank A holds 165 fewer liters of water than Tank B. Tank B holds 400 liters of water. How much does Tank A hold? Well, if something holds fewer, then I know that it holds less, and those are subtraction words. So what number am I going to write first or on top? Right, I'm going to write 400 first. What's my label? L for liters. Line up my place values. 0 minus 5 is, I hope you didn't say 5. We have a bigger number on the bottom, so we have to borrow. But can I borrow from my neighbor? No, because he doesn't have anything. So I need to go to my next neighbor. I'm going to borrow a bundle of 10s, and now I have 10 10s. Now I can borrow from this neighbor, and I have 10 ones. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 6 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. 235 liters. Tank A holds 235 liters of water. All right, so that is all for our lesson for today. If you feel like you need extra practice, you can try this page again, or you can go back up to the top and do the other set of problems that you didn't work on earlier. That would be really nice practice at home tonight. So please save this lesson as M2L19.